Pinot Noir is a cool climate variety, and Oregon is the perfect place to grow it. Our northern latitudes give us longer days for ripening, and yet the cool nights allow acidities to be retained. That provides a full, rich, elegant Pinot Noir. The inland valleys of Oregon are protected from the Pacific by the Coast Range of mountains and from the extremes of the high desert to the east by the Cascade Mountains. Ripening on the south-facing hillsides of the valley is slow and stately. Hopefully. Our challenge is to harvest before the fall rains begin and the growing season ends. Pinot Noir in Oregon was definitely not business as usual. We had to be inventive. We came up with innovations in the vineyard, in the winery, many which are taken for granted now that drive New World Pinot Noir and even some Old World Burgundy. Possibly our most important innovation was remarkably simple. We talked to each other. We worked together too. One of our first collaborations was lobbying the legislature for the remarkable 1973 land use laws here in Oregon. Laws that continued to define urban growth boundaries and to protect agricultural lands. From the beginning, there was a shared idealism about protecting and promoting Oregon wines. In the mid-70s, we created a commodity commission that today is known as the Oregon Wine Board. To fund research and marketing, we tax ourselves most highly of any wine region in the world. We also work together as an industry to bring in new clones of Pinot Noir from Europe with the help of our state university. But we didn't just keep our secrets to ourselves. By 1980, a group of impassioned Pinot Noir winemakers began meeting every summer at Steamboat, a beautiful fly fishing resort in southern Oregon. We taste incessantly and talk honestly about every nitty-gritty nuance of Pinot Noir. These exchanges set in place the relative abundance of excellent Pinot Noirs that are now in the world market. The secret ingredient? No press allowed. By 1980, we began to put together informal alliances to take Oregon wine on the road. Stephen Carey had the nerve to start distributing Oregon wines exclusively, nationally. He patched together a road show featuring any winemakers with enough wine to sell and bucks for plane tickets. Together, they introduced Oregon wines to the nation. We realized there were some challenges ahead. Just as we were seeking a wider market for Oregon wines, the world began to take notice of us. In 1979 in Paris and again in Beaune in 1980, the Eyrie Vineyards gained the first international recognition for Oregon Pinot Noir. Since then, Oregon wines have garnered awards and accolades around the world, and outside confirmation is now a continuing flow of reviews and smiles towards Oregon vintners. We're still collaborating to spread the gospel of Pinot Noir, and yet we have more cachet than cash. So we've had to be creative. We invited people in 1987 for a big party. In McMinnville, Oregon, we began the International Pinot Noir celebration, and it has become an institution. No prizes, no movie stars, short on glitz, but plenty of great Pinot Noir from France, Oregon, and everywhere else Pinot Noir is now made. And then in 2000, we invented Oregon Pinot Camp. We invite the cream of the U.S. trade for 3 days of fun in Oregon with wine facts, great Pinot Noir, a sense of what the past vintage was like, time in the vineyard, dirt underneath the fingernails. Great Pinot Noir is made in the vineyard, and the people who take care of the vines are critical to great winemaking. That's why in 1990 we began Salud, an innovative program to subsidize health care for vineyard workers. Oregon is the birthplace of New World Pinot Noir because of risk-taking, exploration, experimentation, and innovation. But maybe the most essential reason was because a group of people with similar dreams learned to work together, talk honestly, and be willing to share and exchange their discoveries with all who were interested. We make some fine wines in Oregon. We also make way more than our share of great ones. For many of us, Pinot Noir is the gold standard. It is the holy grail of winemaking. and we will always keep up the quest to make this wine better. These days, Oregon is recognized as the birthplace of New World Pinot Noir. Although there was an early wine industry in Oregon, it was finally wiped out by Prohibition. In 1960, there were no vinifera wineries in Oregon, none. Since then, we've built a wine industry from scratch. That's light speed, one generation, but it hasn't been without the risks. You know, many of us on the West Coast get accused of being tree huggers. Well, it's true. We like to look at it as taking a long view. We want an industry that is viable to pass on to future generations. To most industries today, sustainability is a new concept. With us, it's just the way we've always done things.